Hello, it's me, Philip, and this has just arrived today, and it looks a little bit bigger than what I expected. It's a radio that I've bought from eBay. So it's either very well packed or they've sent the wrong thing. It's well packed. It is bigger than what I expected. As you can see, it's an old Hitachi. Radio. I liked it because it's got all its buttons and it's still got the antenna, and it's bought as faulty, of course it would be. But it does have a battery cover. Which you need two hands. There we go, wow. The battery contacts look nice and clean, so that's a good sign. It's got AC, we'll plug it in with AC because I don't think I've got D cell batteries. So it takes 4 D cell batteries, 6 volts, and read the danger sign. Always disconnect from the mains before removing the back cover. Live parts are accessible when exposed. Disconnect the mains plug from the supply socket when not in use. Made in Singapore. There's a hole down there. I wonder what that's for. Find out when we get in, but it just looks like a strange hole for some reason. Right. Should we plug it in first, or should we just open it up? We'll plug it in. And we'll see if it, I hope it doesn't turn on, because that'll spoil my video. I'm going to turn the volume down, turn the tone down. I'm going to switch on. Now, that's strange, isn't it? That's interesting. That's on FM. Tape doesn't do it. Was that playing the tape? Listen to that. That's the tape playing. Tape. I can't see if the tape's going round. But it's making it do funny things. No, the tape spindles aren't going round, and we're getting a very strange noise coming out of here. So that is right. I'm getting that on MW. Have you heard anything like that before? Very good. I'll switch off. and when I switch off, my camera or my monitor goes off. And I think it's a bit of feedback coming back through the AC from the transformer in here. Right, so I am going to open that up and have a quick look inside. Right, 4 screws out. Is that enough? No, one in the middle. And it's model number TRK-510ER. Right, is that it? I don't think there's anything in there. Nope. It's old plastic, so I'm being very careful not to break anything. So there you go. That's the inside. There's the switch. Take this handle out. That's the switch for the to select the different tape MW and FW. I cannot see anything that looks damaged. Tell you what I have spotted. I've spotted another one of these little switches. That's what the Sony one had. They must be quite common, but I don't know about them. I thought I'd found a secret switch. Boom, boom, boom. It was pulsing, as if perhaps it could be a capacitor filling up and discharging. Or a transformer. I suspect it could be a capacitor problem. I could plug in DC and get rid of this transformer. DC will go to this board somewhere. I think I'll plug my power supply in and put 6 volts on the battery terminals and see if the noise is coming from this transformer. I'm going to assume that it's originating on this board, but we'll rule it out by using some DC first. Right, I've got 6 volts. They're nice big battery terminals. I'm just going to hold that on there and I'll give it 6 volts. The current on the power supply is jumping up from 0.14 to about 0.17 with every noise. Has to be a capacitor, I would have thought. Has somebody scratched the initials in there? Is that a WN? I think that looks quite a nicely made board. Do you heat capacitors up? or do you cool them down to test them? There's a fuse in there, but that's obviously working. So I've connected up 6 volts and I'm just going to warm some of the capacitors up to see if it changes the sound. And I don't know if that's a coincidence to me coming down here. There's a chip down there. I'll cool that section down. No. Hold on. There's possibly, there could be something wrong with this little chip. I'm still getting a beep. Although I don't know if that's, is that me acting like an antenna? That could just be me acting like an antenna, couldn't it? I think I'm going to enjoy this one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this board and see if there's any dry solder joints on the underside. I've also noticed, I think there's a little bit of broken what's it called? Band? Is that an elastic band there? It's just deteriorated, this rubber band. I'm pulling off bits of a rubber band off that spindle, which presumably is why the tape isn't working. Although I'm not sure. Oh, it's not, it's grease. Black, thick black grease. What on earth's that for? I thought it might be a dodgy, a snapped rubber band. So that tape's going to have to come out. Right, we'll get that open. So the little one goes up here and the big one goes in the bottom. Right, I think I need to put some cable ties here. Well, that might just lift out. Is it these knobs? Yeah. You can tell I'm not used to working on things like this. I was pressing on this chip, so I'm going to start there. I'm just trying to see if there's any dry solder joints. I've just noticed there's an ear and microphone connector on the back of here. I'm tempted to plug in a speaker just to make sure that it's not this speaker that's causing the problem. I don't know why that speaker would cause a problem, but just for my curiosity, I think I'll rule it out. Right, I found an old tape at my mother's, and it's got Dirty Dancing written on it. I don't know if it works. I don't know if there's anything on it, but I'm going to try it. Switch on. Am I still on tape? Press play. Ah, now. Well, it was working, but it was still beeping. So it's not just on the radio side. It's something after the radio and the tape both get amplified together, I think. Definitely. If I hold the, I think this is the tuning thing. I'm sorry, I don't know what it's called. If I hold it like that, it doesn't beep, it doesn't boop. So there's some type of interference. Couldn't be this it couldn't be this glue, or is it something loose inside? Something around here. I don't know if it's me getting a signal. I don't know what's going on. It seems to have stopped. No, it hasn't.
There you go, 2 points already. You're going
right
down. Next one.
What on earth is causing that? And then it stops. No, it doesn't. I've pulled the boards out here, and the DC from the batteries comes down on the black and red, and the orange and brown come up to the main board here. Brown is ground, orange is positive. This is the first cap on the board, so I'm going to replace that one first and probably just work my way along until I find out which one, or hopefully find out which one's causing it. I've made a list of all the caps that I need, and we're looking at 505, which is 1000 microfarad and 10 volts. And my replacement is not focusing. 1000 microfarads and 16 volts. So I've got negative towards the bottom of the board. I've got an ASR meter which I very rarely use. I think you've got to touch these and press 0, do you? That's at error 0 and need to short the leads. Try that. Right. 0.209 ohms. 946.9. That's got to be about right then. So it's 1000, 10 volts. So it should be 0.12, on is it no higher than 0.12, and I'm 0.2. So that could be a problem. So we'll put a new one in. Right, let's try that. Make sure I'm not shorting anything out. Switch my power supply on and give it 6 volts. Right, well it's on, but it's not taking any current, which is not what was happening before. I haven't got it plugged in. What an idiot. Alright, I better plug it in first. Hook this up. Right, start again. Okay, 6 volts. Still beeping. I think I'm going to have to go around all the cups. Do I do the big ones first, or... I mean, it looks like I'll come along here first, down to this section of the board, which is here. I have a feeling I should start with the capacitors with the higher voltage, or do I just start from this one and work my way out? This capacitor here seems to be connected to those 2 white cables, which are for the motor. Negative points to the bottom of the board again on this one. This one is 10 volts, 100. I'm just going to go replacing them one by one, and I'll mark them off on my sheet. So this is 503. Okay, that's 503. Let's give it some power. Nope. I'm just going to carry on going like that until I've either replaced them all or find out which one it is. There's shmoo on this cap, but I'm pretty sure it's just glue sticking that wire down. I could be wrong, but I have warmed the caps up with some hot air and I didn't smell any fishy smells, so I'm assuming that's just some glue. But anyways, I'll do that cap next. And it's 506. Negative to the bottom of the board again. It looks like it's these big ones. That's the gluey cap replaced. And I'm pretty sure that's just glue, but it's one of the bigger caps, so we'll see if it switches on. Here we go. Still beeping. We'll go for this blue one next, which is 504. Now this one, 504, that I've just pulled out, did smell a bit. I don't know if it was the flux, but it did smell a bit. I don't want to say fishy, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to heat the cap, heat the ends up, and then without burning myself. No, I can't smell anything there. I don't know. Might be wishful thinking. 470 microfarads, 6.3 volts. And the board is marked, so the one with the bigger marking is negative. Right, let's try that. Switch on. Ah, still beeping. I'll just have to keep going. 7 capacitors in, 7 capacitors changed, and still the same issue. I think I've got it. I've just replaced capacitor 405 which was a 22 microfarad 10 volts. And now the beeping stopped. That is brilliant. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I took this one off, but I couldn't replace it because I didn't have a replacement. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I may as well replace the other 4. I can't do that one. I've got 4 there. 507. 507 is connected to the motor. I'll leave that one, I think. It's connected to their motor wires. It's connected to the motor wires. I'm going to leave it. So I've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 to do. I'll replace them and then we'll test it. I've gotten rid of the beeping. It was a capacitor up right next to the tuning rod or whatever this is. I will have a look and see what that's called. But it was the one closest to that. If anyone gets a problem with the same type of thing, start with the caps next to that. I will look up and find out what it is called. And that's it. I've cleaned the board up where I've put the caps on. I don't know how far to take it. I don't know whether to open these pots up and clean them and the switch. I don't really want to because there's nothing wrong with them. I mean, it's old, but it's not that old, and it's not that valuable. If it was like a £600 amplifier, maybe, but if it was a £600 amplifier, I wouldn't be working on it. I've got a bunch of the capacitors that I've pulled out, and these two are one of them is the faulty one, but coincidentally they don't read anything on this little ESR meter. That doesn't pick anything up on that one, and this one is the same. It just says reading is overflow. But if I try one of the other ones, I will get a reading. There you go. So both of the 22 microfarad 10 volt capacitors have failed on that board. There's another blue one here. That's 0.7. So that's reading something. So it just seems a bit strange that the two that have failed there are exactly the same size and capacity. Anyways, back to the video. Rubber band. I don't know whether to replace that. I've got some rubber bands somewhere. It goes on the bottom of that motor and around that big wheel. Probably going to regret taking this off. But I'll replace it because I do have some somewhere. Let's see if I can find them. It's not a bad size, is it? A little bit too big. This is the new one. This is the old one. That's a little bit too small. Should we go for a slightly smaller one? I think that one looks perfect to me. I'm sure that's the old one. How can you tell? I feel the same. Do I keep it? Do I chuck it? I'll keep it until I'm finished with it. Get on. Right, I think that's on. Right, did I take anything else out of there? I don't think I did. But the tuning wheel has to go on this thing. And I'll find out what that's called as well. I promise. They were all cable tied up around here somewhere. If I remember correctly, the little one went there. And the big one went down there. Just going to give these a clean out. Oh, I've just realised I think I might have had to put that switch. There's a switch I think that has got to go in there as you put that board in. So that's going to have to come back out. I've got the board back in place. I've got a cable tie on the wires there. This must have been someone's work radio perhaps, because it's full of little dots of paint which are coming off. What's the front look like? It's a bit beat up. I don't want to go too mad with it. It's coming up alright. Not too bad at all. I'll carry on and I'll come back there. I've just been cleaning my buttons up and it's ejected me tape, and look what it's done. That was me good dirty dancing tape. Never mind. It's a high quality sound system, just in case you didn't know. I'm putting the back, it sounds like metal, can it be, surely? Can it make that out of metal? Gotta be plastic. But it sounds quite metally. Right. I'm experiencing some resistance. I don't know where from. I think it could be, I've got a peg, screw hole there, and I've got a peg there. So that's a screw hole. So I'm assuming that's where the peg goes. So it could be them cables. I'll pop a couple in and we'll test it, because I need to try and clean up the pinch roller on here to stop it from chewing up tapes. Right, that's plugged into the mains there. We'll turn the volume down and we'll switch on. What am I on? Right, FM. There we go.
We are doing this and playing weekdays across all participating Heart stations. It is Heart's 250th.
That's working fine.
Helen enjoyed winning that today.
Put it on tape. Put this back in. I want to try and clean the pinch roller because it's chewed me tape up. If I can go in there, it's got me pinch roller. Pull me plumbing. Try me dirty dancing tape. I'll go forward. It's not fast forwarding. It's not rewinding. It's chewed it up, hasn't it? Yeah. So the tape is not fast forwarding. And when you press play, it plays the tape, but it doesn't spin. Doesn't spin the wire. Doesn't spin the wire. But it doesn't spin the wheel. Just one side. I can see inside the motor spinning, but it's not turning that wheel. Am I going to have to take this board out and take this cassette piece out in one go? It's strange. I can see a little spring attached to this part. Is there supposed to be a little spring attached to that little hole? It looks like there could be something missing. Now the motor drives this, so I'm assuming on the other side that must connect up to the other wheel, I would have thought. Either with a band or some cogs. Rewind, fast forward. I'm gonna have to take that out. It's not working yet. Brilliant. I'll clean up all of this and then we'll concentrate on the okay, so my mic's gone off when I recorded this part. So voice over, as you can see, I press play on the tape and the motor spins that flywheel. I think it's called a flywheel, but the fast forward and reverse aren't working. So I've removed the circuit board there and I'm trying to get that deck out in one go. And you can see on the bottom there's 2 clips that you have to pull out. And then the cassette deck will just pull straight out in one piece. With the cassette deck out, I can see this little white wheel should be going backwards and forwards to engage the reels. And if I flip the board over, I notice a little bit of broken rubber band that should go from underneath the flywheel to that little wheel there. For some reason, the rubber band is completely, it's just disintegrated. It hasn't even disintegrated, it's just turned into black goo. Look at that. So I use some IPA and a cotton bud, and I spend a lot of time cleaning it out before I'm able to put this on. This new rubber band slips underneath there and goes onto that little black wheel. And then with that other band on, when I press play, there we go, success. I think that's called the take-up reel, and I think the other one is called the supply reel. Now I'm just putting a little bit of silicone lubricant on the moving parts before I put the machine back together and test it properly.
Next week before Trevor starts. So, if your birthday is next week, the 20th, the
There we go.
21st, the 22nd, the 23rd,
That's FM.
or the 24th, if that is...
I've learned that this is the FM antenna, and the one inside is the AM antenna. But I've only got MW on here, so that must be for the one inside. I'm presuming is for MW as well. That works fine on the radio. So with the tape in, we can play music, rewind and fast forward. So both the supply reel and the take up reel are working properly. And I think that's it. I quite enjoyed that one. Just unplug it. Yep, quite enjoyed it. Learned the names of a few new parts and how they work. And that's all you can ask, really. Excellent. I hope you enjoyed it. If you've watched it this far, thank you very much. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye for now.